say someone was just walking down the street and saw the sign Operation Mincemeat and knew nothing about the show, I don't think the title would offer them much, so...
Certainly not.
How would you describe it to someone walking by?
We describe it as the thing that it is, which is a true story of a crazy MI5 mission that tried to trick Hitler into moving thousands of men to the wrong place. So that's the story, which is it's kind of what hooked us in to begin with. What a crazy thing, a part of World War II we never knew existed. And then we say, but at its heart, it's about a small group of people who band together to try and move the needle of history. And it's just a lovely, and an always an important lesson, but particularly now more than ever, that we see stories where people can really make change. Even if you feel very, very small, there's always things you can do to make they feel like the world can be a better place.
How do 4 brains write one musical?
Horribly.
Slowly.
Horribly.
Slowly.
Through legal teams.
Torturously.
yeah. We get together and we look at a section of the story, and anything that jumps out that one of us goes, I think this could be a really great song. And so we all sit down and think, okay, if it were to be a song, what is the energy, or what is the kind of the kernel of the idea that we can all, as 4 minds, agree we want to see?
Is there a line?
Is there a line?
We boil this down to a single line.
Yeah, and then once we've got that, whoever feels they maybe have the most, can see it the best, or who simply has the most time that week, will take it.
Or loses a bet.
We'll take it for that week and have a first pass at it and brings it back, and then it gets mercilessly torn apart by the other 3, and that process continues and continues until
we throw it in the bin
later,
and start again.
Yeah, and then
Is there a
back
vote?
to an earlier version.
yeah,
You're evenly split, so if there's a vote, does someone come in?
We tend to say that it needs 4 yeses, you know, and there are very, very rare occasions where for time's sake, we've had to go, we've got 3 yeses, we know this isn't quite the exact thing because somebody's still unsure about something, but we need to move forward. What's really great is that we respect each other's opinions to the point where we're like, even if I am determined that this is a brilliant idea, if one of these guys is putting their hand up and going, guys, it's not, something about it isn't quite right yet, even if they don't know what that thing is, you're like, we've got to sit back down at the table and figure that out. Because
even one drop of poison in that glass and the whole thing's gone, so we have to go back to the drawing board.
You built this brilliant musical vehicle that 3 of you get to drive around every night.
Yes.
So I want to hear what that's like, but I also want to hear what it's like for you to watch them do that.
It's the most beautiful experience. It's like, because when you have, because nearly a decade we've been pouring every single atom of our brains into this thing, and every single nuance, every single strained bit of harmony, every single bit of tension, or every rhythm that's been hammered through our brains for so long, and then to see it happening and see the reaction. I tend to mainly watch the audience, weirdly enough, because
he gets jealous when he watches us. It's hard for him, so he has to.
Yeah, I wish I was that short. But then it's like, but watching them, and when you've agonised over a thing, when you've stirred up a kind of musical colour for the express intention of engendering one particular emotion, and then you see it be cast out into the crowd, and you see it blossom amongst people, it's just, you feel like you're surfing on this thing that we're all doing together. It's really kind of exhilarating.
And you'll see it there in writing that our Bill, he went down fighting for his love, his life, and his democracy. So we're making a man, making a hero, quick as we can. The nation's in need of a marvelous man, a dependable dreamboat, a shining example of what humans can be.
Tell me how you landed on the musical style for the show.
I feel like we still haven't.
Yeah. If you could tell us what that is, we'd be really grateful.
It's so song by song.
Yeah.
And it comes from us discussing the moment that it kind of comes from what moment do we want to create on the stage in that second, in that minute, in that, however long the song or the beat is, and what do we pull from musically, emotionally, comedically, emotionally, whatever, to create that specific thing. And is there a joke in the style of the music? For example, the opener Act 2, having that hugely modern sort of pop sound against the fascist lyrics, that creates an energy.
We were furious we were having to write something about World War II in the first place, set around the past.
So boring.
Oh my
boring.
God.
Do we need any more art about
So we were determined that we needed contemporary sound in there.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to feel like something from the past, so we knew that we wanted contemporary flavours, but I think it was about knowing the moments to deploy those. So Jean Leslie, who's the kind of young up-and-coming woman in the office, you know, we knew that we wanted her to sing something really poppy and something that would feel really kind of forward-thinking and powerful. And if the palette was all that stuff, we wouldn't get the kind of tonal shifts that we managed to achieve.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, actually, the story is so bonkers and goes to so many unexpected places that actually, as writers, I think instinctively we perhaps knew that we couldn't just make it all one sound, because actually the story shoots off into different areas, and therefore we do that with musical genres to surprise the audience as much as the characters on stage are surprised by what the next bit of the farce.
Do you ever think you made it too hard for you to perform?
Every second
of the show.
Yeah.
God, yes.
If we'd had any
this
idea.
is not an easy show. You're playing several characters. You're all over the place.
If we'd known how many performances of this show we had to do, we would never have made it this difficult. And also, as writers, we say that if we weren't in it, we probably would not have made it this hard to perform, because we wouldn't ask that of other people. We can ask it of ourselves.
And Jack and Claire.
And Jack and Claire.
obviously.
They don't count. It's fine.
When we pull it off, we are always just pulling it off by the skin of our teeth. But that's not because we are bad at what we're doing. It's because we are constantly and by design pushing ourselves to do it faster and faster, so that it is at the very knife edge of just pulling it off. Because the whole game with the audience is we are making you see so many locations, 86 characters between just 5 people with a few hats and clever stage trickery. But for that to be satisfying, it has to have risk. Otherwise, it's just boring for an audience to watch. They're just like, sure, it's not. We can tell that you're coasting, and that's not the fun of that isn't the fun of the game that we're playing.
And I think it's quite probably, I imagine quite rare to have a show in which, you know, like these two guys play our lead characters as much as there are leads in the show. But they are also, any time that they are not needed as those lead characters, shoved back on as chorus members. You know, they're providing backing vocals, they're populating this world because we've only got 5 people. And that's the same for all of us. It's like, if you're free, get on and do some work.
Yeah.
Come on, shove that desk across, because we're not having crew on stage. You know, move that around, be this person. And I think what's nice about that is that we've been saying it means that there isn't any ego on stage in those performances, because you're asking absolutely everybody to know when it's their time to step forward and kind of shine in a moment, whether that's comedically or vocally or anything. And you've also got to know when it's not about you.
What's something about being on Broadway that no one told you, that you weren't prepared for?
I think the nightlife in a nice
She's on every night.
I think because we did a year on the West End where we were so used to the show coming down at 10:30 and being like, and now a sad bus for me home to disassociate for an hour, and I'll get home and have my sad toast. And that's what everyone's doing, because everything in London closes at 11. Whereas on Broadway, it feels like it's such a community that is so excited and celebratory about the performances that are happening, and that the epicenter of this art form, that everyone wants you to come out of the show and then be like, and now let's talk about it. Let's get together and talk about what's happening and what you saw and how that was. And so you get this like second sort of performance for everyone, which is that everyone gets to come together and discuss it in bars and diners and restaurants.
I mean, people want to come to each other's theatres. Like, they invite people to the theatres, and you hang out. Like, we've probably met more people in casts of other shows in 3 months than we probably did on the West End. Maybe nobody ever invited us.
Yeah, actually, maybe they're all
We're just
But actually,
losers.
the tradition of writing opening night letters to each show that's opening, that from what we understand in the UK certainly doesn't happen, and that was a really nice kind of ritual to be part of, and it still has been going on every time a show opens, getting to write something to them, just to say, hey, like, we see that you were opening, this is really hard to do, congratulations for getting this far, and you feel so much more supported here than we have
And
anywhere
supportive
else.
in return.
Exactly.
You go, oh my God, I want to go and see that show when it opens, and I want to try and check those guys out. And
Not that we can.
No,
No, of course we can't.
Obviously
we
we
can't
can't.
ever see
we can't
anything
see
ever.
Until we get fired. you know?
I'm busy. Oh, when is
gunning
it,
for
Chris?
it.
God, that's brilliant, really brilliant. God, that's brilliant, so daring and so cunning. Seen the splendor, dreaminess, experiencing genius. These are the ingredients you need when you're making a man.
So if the real life Operation Mincemeat team saw this show, what do you think they would make of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, their children have all seen it.
Yeah.
All their families. In fact, when we did the very, very first run of the show, in a tiny little, you could fit 9 of that theatre in this room. And there was, and we got an email one day saying, oh, just wondered if there are any seats for tomorrow. And we're like, we're sold out. We're sold out, I'm afraid. And they came back and said, oh, well, Ewan Montague's children.
And there's 14 of us. And we're like, okay, no
Make an extra
worries.
round.
We'll go back to our, and like, yeah, the next day.
We forgot it was real. We forgot they were real people.
But it was great because his son, who was a very old
Very old,
man, and then his
80s.
grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, this is an 80 seat venue. They made up, I would
Front
say,
two rows.
30% of that audience that day. And obviously, on our show, Ewan Montague, my character, we take the mick out of that man quite a lot because he represents the establishment. And we were just like, oh my God, this is going to be so awful. And we did the show, and at one point, this lovely old man just leaned over to his and just went, and he was like, yeah, it's a woman. He was like, right. And then we finished the show, and one of the venue managers came in and was like, Tash, the Montagues want to talk to you. And I was like, I'm going to be found in a bin 3 days from now. That's fine. Oh my God, but I have to. And we went through the doors, and this lovely woman, who I later found out her name was Sarah Montague, just opened it up. I went, Grandad! And gave me a huge hug. So sweet. So I think they'd be.
I mean, they've expressly said that they think the
They
show.
think he would love
yeah,
the
show
show,
really
and
captures his comedic.
He's a very funny man.
sense of fun,
Yeah.
and and I think
Chumley might be initially have
Horrified.
issues with how he is portrayed, but in the end he comes out the best. He comes out
does,
as a very honourable
yeah.
man, and his family also love it. The Bevans have been.
yeah,
Even the Flemings like it. Can you believe it?
Yeah, even
Amazing.
yeah.
I think they're just delighted that the story's being told.
Told
Like,
in
they love
like a
it.
fun,
I think they'd be
joyful
surprised.
way.
Other than Montague, I think they'd be surprised that they are the 5 that we're focusing on, because that's not who those people were. They were doing it for their nation.